Recently, I just laid to rest my sister, and I've said that before in my previous videos. And at times in life, it opens a new chapter, as it has done for me, a new chapter in my life. So, with that being said, tonight's show, we're going to talk about who's responsible for the condition of the black man and woman. Who is responsible for the conditioning of the black man and black woman? And yes, black lives matter. And we're going to have this conversation tonight because I believe that it needs to be had, and not only on a form like this, but any Masonic form, because what happens is we tend to want to whitewash a lot of stuff and sweep it under the rug like if it never happened, like things never happened to us, or you know, everybody else can talk about their condition and how they got to be where they're at, but the black man and woman. Well, tonight we're going to open the phone up to have this conversation. So if you feel that you need to have this conversation tonight, we can really have this conversation. So this is not a conversation for the weak-hearted. This conversation is going to be for those who not only want to have a discussion, but solutions. And I have my own solution, and it may differ from yours, but a solution to the problem is a solution, period. So just because we can agree to disagree on a solution, hey, I'm open. I'm really open. But when people tell me that the black people need to take responsibility for their community, when you tell me that, you're telling me that you don't really see the condition of the black man and black woman. That's what you're telling me. So tonight we're going to talk about whose responsibility it is, who's at fault for the condition of the black man and black woman. Now, some of you may say, well, Brother Hawkins, you're going a little too far. You're talking about a subject that Masons usually don't talk about. Well, you know what? This one tonight, we're talking about it. So, I'm a little juiced, and it's okay. But if anybody really want to call and have a decent conversation about this particular topic, you're certainly welcome to do so. That number is 619-985-1184. Please hit the thumbs up button for me tonight. But we're talking about who's responsible for the conditioning or the condition of the black man and black woman. Who's responsible for their communities being the way they are? And as soon as you tell me that we're responsible, when you tell me that, that's only part of the answer. That's it's a big part, but yet it's a very small part of that answer. Because a lot of things have been happening to us that we haven't dealt with. And America has not dealt with us in a just way. So now you are feeling the ramifications of not dealing with us justly. You have always dealt with us unjustly. America just has. Period. The system of America has dealt with us unjustly. So tonight we're going to talk about the condition of the black man and black woman, and who's responsible. Yes, black lives matter. My life matters. Okay? It matters. And I've talked with police officers, and yes, everybody want to go home. Everybody want to get home. But when you start treating people like they less than, this is where the issue lies. America has not treated the black men and women like they're full citizens of the United States. We don't receive the same justice in the so-called justice system when we go before the courts of law. We don't get the same representation unless we have the money for someone to fight our cause. We don't get that. So when people come to me and tell me that the black man and woman is responsible for their condition, that's half truth. That's half truth. Tonight we're going to look at some of the things that have happened to us in these Americas where we have struggled. We're going to look at eight successful, thriving black communities that were destroyed by their white neighbors. We're going to take a look at that. And I know people are going to say, well, that was a long time ago. No, 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 my mother was living. My uncle was living. So to me, that wasn't a long time ago. When you're talking 100 years, that's not a long time ago. So people, you need to realize, if I'm 50, well, I'm a little older than 50, but being 50, if you're 50 and you're talking about 100 years, that's not long ago. So we need to get over this thing talking about it was a long time ago. It wasn't a long time ago. It was just a short while ago. The reason it's a long time ago is because people want you to forget. See, my grandmother was born in 1914. My uncle, my great uncle, was born in 1905. I talked with him. I sat with him. He was living when I graduated high school, so that's not a long time ago. My mom was born in 1936. I have a sister that was born in 1957. I have a brother who was born in 1953. I have another brother who was born in 1963. A sister born in 1960. So we're not talking long ago, people. I just want you to realize Black Lives Matter. And don't tell me, please don't tell me, well, you know, black people need to stop killing black people. That doesn't ride on this boat. It doesn't ride on this boat. You can't give me that. Because no matter where you at, people are going to cause harm and kill people, whether they look like them or they don't. But don't tell me that black people need to stop killing black people. That's why we get killed. If we would just stop killing ourselves, maybe they'll stop killing us. That's some bullshit. You need to get real with that. So tonight we're going to have this conversation. So if you want to call in, once again, that number is 619-985-1184. And we can call in and have this discussion. Because tonight we're going to talk about 8 successful, thriving black communities that were destroyed by a white mob. Wasn't by us. It's about a white mob. And now, today, as we see the continuation of marches and protesting, and people want to defund the police department. This has been a long time coming. And every time something happens, it just pushes the envelope a little bit farther. Now police officers say, well, the morale is pretty low. I think we should quit. Well, you should have thought about that the way you shoot people in the back when they're running from you. The way you shoot people when their hands are up. And don't tell me, well, you know, if they don't resist, maybe they wouldn't get shot. Well, I know of plenty of cases where we wasn't resisting and got shot. Oh, just here recently, you remember the man in Walmart with the pellet gun, just walking around the store thinking that he's going to buy a pellet gun. They walk in, hey, 5 seconds, he's down. Oh, well, not that one. So you got Tamir Rice outside playing in the park with his little pellet gun. Just, hey, look, I had a pellet gun when I was a kid. Just having a good time. 3 seconds. Police pull up 3 seconds out the car. Boom, this kid is down. So don't tell me. Don't tell me, well, you know, if black people would only do this, if we would only do that. And every time we do it, you still move the goalpost back. So you told us, well, if you just dress right. So we got, hey man, we can dress. We got some swag. Everybody want to be like us when we dress. We got swag. It's just that simple. If we walking around with our pants sagging, and I know most of us don't like it, and I don't like it either, but you know everybody else follows. Everybody follows the leader. And we are some leaders. The system just rigged. And every time we think that we got our foot in the door, somebody kicks the foot out of the door, closes the door, and moves it. This is just the truth. But tonight, we're going to talk about 8 successful, thriving communities. Okay? The first one I'm going to talk about is the Atlanta riots of 1906. How many of you familiar with that? And before I go any further, I want to hey, Anthony Wright, appreciate you, brother. Thank you for the shout out. I appreciate you. Good looking out. Traveling Light, man, I appreciate you. Thank you. I appreciate you. We're going to get into this topic. So tonight, we're going to talk about 8 thriving, successful black community that the white racist mobs came in and tore up our community. They talking about we should have our own. We did. You came and burnt it down. talking about, well, we had our own. We've always tried to have our own. But what do? When you see us being successful, you come and burn our shit down. It's a proven fact. And I got 8 of them for you tonight. There are more, but there's 8 in particular, and most of these 8, most of you probably already know about. But let's talk about these 8. One in particular was in Atlanta, Georgia. It's called the Atlanta Race Riot of 1906. So we're talking just over a little 115 years ago, thereabouts, okay? There are people there are some old people that can tell you some stories about that are probably still up and living right now. So let's look at this riot. When the Civil War ended, African Americans in Atlanta began to entertaining in the realm of politics, establishing businesses, gaining notoriety as a successful class. Increased tension between the white wage worker and the white elite began to grow. And ill feeling were further accelerated when blacks gained more civil rights, including the right to vote. This was in 1906. Okay. Then it says the tension exploded during the election of 1906 when M. Hawk Smith and Clark Howell competed for the Democratic nomination. Both candidates were looking for ways to disenfranchise the African American vote, the same thing they're trying to do today, because each felt that the black vote could throw the election to either candidate. Hawkins Smith was a former publisher of the Atlanta Journal, Clark Howell was the editor of the Atlantic Constitution. Both candidates used their influence to incite white voters to help spread the fear that whites may not be able to maintain current social order. The Atlanta Georgian and the Atlantic News began publishing stories about a white woman being molested and raped by a black man. These allegations were reported multiple times and were largely false, and there ensued a riot. Isn't they doing the same thing today? That's the same thing that happens today, is it not? Somebody needs to talk to me, because I think I'm talking to myself. I really think I'm talking to myself. I'm a little excited, but I'm excited only because when people say some of the craziest things, communities, it's just the idea that we come together when shit like this happen. You see us and you be like, where did they come from? I live in a very diverse community here in San Diego. I do. And most African Americans live in a diverse community. There's no little Italy here in San Diego when I'm talking about a black San Diego. There's no place where you can say all the black people are here in San Diego. There's no distinguished place. Here in San Diego, we used to call it District 4, D4, predominantly African American community. That's no more. We hold a large foothold, but not like we used to. So I'm talking about San Diego, but in other places in the country, yeah, there may be predominantly African American communities. And in those communities, the only reason you're suffering is because the money has been sucked out of your community and put somewhere else. Get the representation that you need in your councilman and your alderman seat. So they have redlined you out of some of your districts where you can actually vote and your schools can be better. Yeah, they didn't done that to you. They build other suburbs, places, so when you move out, the money that was there is sucked out of that area. So the area where it was once thriving for a black community is no longer thriving because the money isn't there. Come on, a game is being played on us. A game is being played on us, all right? And that's just the fact of the matter. So when people tell you, hey, you know what? All you got to do is just take better care of your community. Man, look, I'm going to continue with this before I go any further. So on September the 22nd, 1906, Atlanta newspaper reported 4 allegation assaults on a white woman. Soon some 10,000 white men and boys began to gather, beating and stabbing blacks. Okay, it is estimated there were between 25 and 40 African Americans dead. it was confirmed that there was only 2 white deaths. You're saying 10,000 white men and boys went into this part of Atlanta and began to stab and kill. Come on. We didn't do that. You did that. You, white America, you did that to us. And then you want to know why we so angry and why we so upset. You never said you were sorry. We never got reparations for the property that was lost. You never apologized. You never did anything to subsidize or say, look, you know what? That was wrong. That was totally wrong. We apologize for that. We're going to offer you some reparations so you can rebuild your community. Listen, every time America has ever gone to war with any country that they are fought, they always build that country back up. Listen once again. Whenever America has gone to war, it has always built up the country that it had war with. You don't believe me? Look at history. World War I, World War II. Did we not put our money back over in Europe? In those countries that was devastated by war? Even when we dropped the bomb on Japan, did we not go back in and help them build up their infrastructure? Did we not do that? Have not Black America fought in every war, even when we was against our detriment to remain in slavery? Hell, we fought in that war until the British said, look, we will give you your freedom outright if you will fight for us. And people want to ask us why we so angry and mad sometimes. Why don't we just get over it? When we know that Israel is receiving billions of dollars from America for the Holocaust that America has nothing to do with, but we yet pay, we yet give out, and then we ask for reparations in regards to what we want to do and build up a Black community in the various cities and towns and states in these Americas, and you look at us mad, like you really upset with us because we asking for a hand up and not a handout? You redlined us out of the communities, said to no, even though your credit is 780, 890. You making just as much money, but you can't live over there? You redlined the communities, you suck the money out of it, and then tell us to do something about it? Come on, I'm just pointing it out. I'm just giving you some facts, some hard-earned facts, some things that has actually happened to us. And nobody said anything. Nobody came to our defense or anything. And then, when we began to thrive, when we began to really get into politics and really begin to thrive, you get angry. You get mad. Look at what happened in North Carolina, if I'm not mistaken. You can go look this up for yourself. When the Black people really began to thrive in North Carolina, the white people became so upset till they overthrew the government that was elected. That's a fact. The white community in North Carolina overthrew the government that was elected to serve the people, and the blacks who won the election left town. That's truth. So don't tell me about get over it. Don't tell me, oh, blacks need to take care of their own community. Don't give me that shit. Don't give that to me. Don't, no. We can't have that. But we can have a conversation. Now, granted, we can agree to disagree on some things. Okay? We can do that. But see, I can't forget that you put crack in our communities. I can't forget that. That's recent. All right? We're talking about the 80s now. You put the crack in the community, gave it to Freeway Willie, I think that's his name, to pass out in the community. The man wanted to get a hustle on. He needed money. Yeah, he sold crack to his own, and this is what happened. But you brought it in. And him not knowing any better, per se, he sold it. He saw it come up. He saw it come up. And ain't nothing wrong with seeing it come up. But that's what he's seen. All right? That's what he's seen it come up. So I'm not mad at him because he's seen it come up. Some of you may be a little upset. Hold on just a second. But I'm not mad. So when I look at this 1906 riot, my great uncle was only 1 year old. That was he was born in 1905. This happened in 1906. All right, that's one. Let's take a look at a couple more here. set that one to the side. All right. So now you heard about that one. That was one of the most famous ones that happened, right? Remember that one? Hold on. So we remember Rosewood very well because there was a movie about it, and we understand that the Masonic Order had something to do with it. You know about the Black Masons and the White Masons, and this White Mason raped this white woman while her husband was at work, and even though the Black lady seen what was happening, she saw exactly what was going on. She didn't say anything, probably fear for her life. Then this white guy who's trying to flee, he wants to get out of town. He goes to a black stable, shows his Masonic ring and said, hey, you know, I need your help. So this young, enthused young black man, he goes over and says, yes, can I help you? Is you a traveler? And the young black African American man, you know, goes over to the older gentleman, tells him, hey, that white man, he's a Mason. He needs some help. And what do you say? Hold on, I think I missed a call here. Couldn't really tell you. What does he say? He's not like us. He's not one of us. That's what he says. That's what he says. He's not one of us. But yet and still we have the same issue. Yet and still I can come back today. Hold on just a second. Hello, can I help you?
That's what he says. He's not one of us.
Hello?
7 A-N-Y. Pleasure to meet you. Choose which path and direction I'm going to go to.
Okay. Okay.
Which is to PHO.
All right. Mm-hmm.
And that's because I'm a rebel.
You need to gain that knowledge, and once you get it, bro, that on. And if you could do anything for anybody, build them up. Never get anybody a hand out. Give them a hand up. And once you give them that hand up, then both of you guys can walk further together than separate.
Which I understand, and you should never look down on the brother unless you lifting them up.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, there's a lot of ignorance out there, and people don't want to open their minds and expand.
Some people, you got to leave where they at, because they ain't ready.
Well, I need further elaboration on what you're saying, because, like I said, you done, whether you believe or not, you done done a lot for me personally.
Oh, okay. So
I need.
Go ahead.
I need further elaboration on what you're like saying. What you're trying to say and get through to everybody else is just not get through, and me personally, it's not really getting through to me at this very moment. So I need further elaboration on the point that you're trying to make.
The point I'm trying to make, when people tell you what we should do, we've always done better. We've always excelled. The process is when we do it, you close the door on us. You move the goalpost. You tell me to touch. You got to kick a 40-yard field goal. When I look up, the field goal is now 50 yards I got to kick. When you tell me, oh, you just need this amount of education to get here. And when I get there, you say, oh, well, you need this. They keep moving. They keep moving they keep shifting the process for which we try to reach in being successful. There are many areas of success that we reach, but they keep moving it. And only a few of us get there. If I have $1 million, why can't you have $1 million? Why can't you? Go ahead. Say what?
No, I was gonna answer that easily, because if we both broke, I can't help you. But
we have that. The process is that they give their monies to the wrong entity. They really do. So you get someone like what's my boy name from the West Coast? Dre. You get someone like Dr. Dre, who gives close to $10 million to UCLA. UCLA don't need your $10 million. Have anybody looked at the endowment that they get per year? Jesus, $10 million is just a damn drop in the bucket. You know who could have used that $10 million? Clark University, Jackson State University, Brown University, North Carolina AT&T, TNT could have used that money. Black universities could have used that $10 million. It would have meant so much more. Okay? So that's what I'm saying. What I'm trying to say is stop saying that black people are not doing these things when I know and I see that we are. Because there are times when we've done these things and because they got jealous. Politically and economically, they got jealous. Nobody arrested. It's all good. So when you tell another black man that, and when he's educated and knows his history and know his story, not your story, but his story, he gets a little pissed because he can look in your eyes and say, brother, that's not how it all went down. See, everybody always tell the black man, you need to pull yourself up. With what? With what? What do you want me to pull myself up with? I don't have a rope. I don't have shoes, nor do I have shoelaces. Pull myself up with what? I'm just saying. So tonight, this is our topic tonight about those successful black communities that was thriving. You know, so in regards to Freemasonry, Rosewood is a prime example. Wanted to be accepted. If the young black brother listened to the older brother when he said they are not like us, none of this would have probably happened. I said probably.
No, I'm listening. So that's why I'm so quiet.
So this is where we're at. So we're looking at Rosewood. Let me go back. I'm going to the first one I was talking about. I was talking about the Atlantic riots. Let's just take a look at what happened in that riot, okay? So, let me see. So on September the 6th, on September 22nd, 1906, during this time, the Atlantic newspaper reported 4 allegations of assault on a white woman, which was false. These allegations weren't even true. 10,000 white men and boys went into Atlanta in a black community, destroyed the community, okay? Destroyed the community, all right? So don't give me that. Let's look at the Chicago riots of 1910. The
Watts riot?
Yeah, the Chicago, there was a riot in 1910. It's called the Chicago riots. In 1910, 235,000, all right? This was in 1910. It was from 1910 to 1930, something like that. 235,000. When the war ended, this is after World War I, 1918. Thousands of white factories, warehouses, and mills have been filled by newly arrived Southern black immigration. It was called the black migration from the South to the North during that war. Okay, so on July the 27th, 1919, an African-American teenager was drowned in Lake Michigan after he challenged a unofficial sergeant of Chicago, okay, and beached and was stoned by a group of white youth. So this young African-American male, he challenged a sergeant, okay, and when he challenged him at the beach, he was at the beach, a group of young white youth stoned this young man. Okay, stoned him to his death. And the police refused to arrest the man who caused it. It sparked a week of race riots between blacks and whites in Chicago, with black neighboring and receiving the worst of the damage. When the riot ended on August the 3rd, 15 whites and 23 blacks has been killed and more than 500 people was injured. In addition, 1,000 black families had lost their homes, okay, when they was burned to the ground. So when people tell me black people need to get their act together, when you tell me that.
I agree, because I was just about to say that, because you know what? It's us who are destroying our uncle, but that's out of anger, like how you said. It's out of anger, but why are we doing it to ourselves?
No, brother. It's just like when you send a soldier off to war, and when he comes back from war, he needs counseling. He needs debriefing. Okay? We have never been debriefed. We have never received counseling. We haven't received any assistance or help. Okay? So you're talking about a group of people whose ancestors have been held in slavery. You're talking about a group of people who have lived under so many different rules and regulations that govern them from moving to drinking to going to the bathroom to eating. It's, man, look, it wasn't until the 1970s that Jim Crow ended. How old are you?
Me personally, I'm 29.
You're 29. Think about
Yes,
that.
sir.
You're 29. Jim Crow ended in 1970. Brother, that wasn't long ago. Just think about that. It wasn't long ago. So that means that your father was probably born in the 60s if you're 29. 68, 69, someone up in there.
Yeah, he was around the 60s, if I'm not mistaken.
So with that being said, he was limited in where he can go. He was.
No. But see, my father, he wasn't born in this country. My father was born in a different country. My father's from Trinidad.
Well, but when he moved here, you could be, I don't care where you're born, but when you get here and you got this color skin, you black.
Oh, that's a fact. That's a fact. But you know what? Racism, I still feel it to this day. When they see me driving, they want to pull me over just because I'm black. They don't have no excuse. They make up an excuse. They make up a reason.
That they do. That they do. So look, I'm gonna go ahead. I want to share some more of these race riots that was caused by white folks on black people. You got anything else you want to add?
No, not at all. I'm just listening. I just need a further elaboration on what you was trying to explain and get me to understand.
Well, like
I said, you done. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be a PHO.
Okay. Well, what I want you to do, brother, is continue to travel and enjoy the works of Freemasonry and to uplift the next man. That's all I need you to do.
Okay, brother.
All right.
All right. Travel light.
Hey, you too, and I appreciate you calling in. Thank you.
All right, brother.
All right. So I appreciate the brother calling in, and we're going to go ahead on. Let's take a look at Washington, D.C. race riots, 1919. Mind you, my grandmother was born in 1914. Okay? All right. So it was a post-war Washington, D.C. Roughly 75% was white. 75% was white in Washington, D.C. Okay? Racial, the racial tension was very high during that time. Okay, housing was in short supply, jobs were not really secure. All right, so there was a lot of things happening. However, Washington black community was then the largest, most prosperous community in the country. The largest, most prosperous community was in Washington, D.C. in 1909. All right. Now it says with a small but impressive class of teachers, ministers, lawyers, businessmen, all right, brick masons, all right, and laborers, okay. They had their own community. It was near Harvard University. And what did they do? They got pissed. They went in. They tore it down. They said by the time the Red Summer, they call it the Red Summer, was underway, unemployment of whites better involved and relatives few blacks were fortunate enough to produce a low-level government job. Many whites also resented the influx of African Americans to the previous segregated neighborhoods around Capitol Hill. They resented that. In July 1919, a white man in many military uniform responded to a rumor, an arrest of a black man for rape with 4 days. It was 4 days of a mob violence. They riot. They randomly beat black people on the streets, pulled others off the street cart and attacked them. When police refused to interview, the black population fought back. This is what needs to happen. You need to start fighting back. Stop laying down. Know the laws. Know them and use them. That's all I'm saying. All right? So, once again, for everybody who's tuning in right now, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for tuning in and calling in. I really appreciate it. But this to do and how to do it. You shouldn't protest like this. You shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do that. Well, how should we do it? I need someone to tell me how should we do it. Because right now the things that we do is irritating a whole lot of people. A whole lot of people. That's all I'm saying. So let's go on a little further. All right. So it says that troops tried to restore order as the city closed saloons, theaters, disregarded assemblies. When the violence ended, 15 people had died. 10 whites, including 2 police officers, 5 African American, 15 people were seriously wounded, and 100 was less severely wounded. It was one of the few times when white outnumbered those of the blacks. I'm just giving it to you. Now, that's what you call the Washington, D.C. race riots. All right? Now, let's look at Knoxville, Tennessee. This was a race riot of 1919 also. So, the same year, Washington, D.C., and then you're talking 1919, Tennessee. August 1919, a race riot in Knoxville, Tennessee broke out after a white mob mobilized and responded to a black man accused of murdering a white woman. There's always the same thing over and over and over and over again. And you want to know why we so angry. We tired of being lied on. Now look, I'm not saying that we are perfect people. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying that we don't have our issues. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that whenever something happens to us by them, they want to blame us for it happening. So, can somebody talk back to me? You know? So this is what we're at. You know, oh yeah, what about the Central Park? Yeah, look, we know that the now President of the United States took out a 4-page ad on the Central Park 5 saying that it should receive the death penalty. Those men were innocent. They was forced into giving a consent and saying that they did it. Forced. And then people get upset? I don't know. I don't know how you feel, but Black Lives Matter to me. All right? So whenever somebody come to me with this bullshit, talking about what black people should do about it. Let me share this with you. Every time black people make strides, such as the civil rights and different things that was passed to help us to get a peace or to become Americanized, get into the groove, kind of move us along, you know, give us a little help as we progress in this thing we call life. Every time we did that, I'm gonna strangle my dog in a minute. That little dog, my grandkids gonna come over here. They're not gonna see that dog. But anyway, I'm just saying. So every time we try to move forward and try to make some things happen, this is what we get. If you don't stop. Oh God. Ooh, I'm back, brothers. I'm sorry. And sisters, I'm back. So look. So every time we try to make that stride, I mean, really try to get ahead. Someone, something, the system is always there to put its foot on our necks. And we know it. And we've been saying it for a long time, but people just wasn't listening to us. So every time we get angry, get mad, when they said, well, why they destroying their own community? If you don't own nothing in the community that you live in, it's really not your community. If you own nothing in the community that you live in, it's really not your community. You just live there. Just like me in San Diego, in this very diverse area for which I live. I own nothing but this house. There's no black-owned grocery stores. None of that. Not where I'm at. There's some nice supermarkets, some nice Targets, nice Walmarts, and other outlets. But black people own nothing. So don't give me that. If you own items, places of where you can employ people, where you live, it's your community. It's your community. But what happens to us is that everybody comes in, set up shop, sucks the money out of where you're at, and move on. Now, I would say this. Being from Mississippi, I see it all the time. Every time I go back, I'm like, well, damn, who owns that store? Mr. Johnson? No, Mr. Johnson, he don't own that store no more. He sold it. Well, why he ain't sell it to somebody black? Because somebody black didn't want the store. So now you pissed off because the store ain't yours. It owns, an Arab owns the store, but he don't live in your community. When then Mr. Davis owned the gas station down the street? Yeah, but he sold it. Who he sell it to? Well, he sold it to the Mexicans. They came in and they bought it. Why ain't sell it to nobody? Now you're mad. I'm just saying, this is what happens. Well, maybe we couldn't get the loan for it. I get that. I understand that. But I'm just saying, this is what happens to us in the community for which we live in, predominantly African American communities. Everybody come and set up shop. You don't have no nail shops. We don't own any that I know of. Well, no, here in San Diego, there's a couple of black-owned nail shops and beauty salons where it's specifically owned outright, sell weaves and all that stuff. Do your nails, your toes, all of that. Got it. There's a couple here, so I retract that. Only a couple. But you know exactly what I'm saying tonight. You know exactly where I'm at. Exactly where I'm at. So let's get back to this Tennessee riots of 1919. It says that the shooting continued during this riot for several hours. Outgunned, the black defenders guarded, and fled, allowing the gunsmen to gain control of the area. Newspaper placed the death toll of just 2. Through eyewitness accounts suggest that the death total was so much more. The bodies were dumped into the Tennessee River, while others were burned in mass graves. I'm just saying. I know we're talking 100 years ago, but that's just half my lifetime. There are people who were still living during that lifetime. Maybe they were just born. 1919, they're 101 years old. All right? Let's look at 1917. East St. Louis Massacre. Oh, how many of you know about that? East St. Louis Massacre, 1917. All right? What about the New York City Draft Riot, 1863? See, we've always had these riots. This is nothing new, but these are black communities that they came in and destroyed. Okay? Black communities. So when people come and tell me this situation or about what black people should be doing, when you did not assist us or aid us in trying to become involved with America, you can't tell me that. You can't do that. There's a flag on that play. 15-yard penalty. It's a personal foul. Unnecessary roughness. Kicked in the head. You can't do that. There's so much more. I mean, those are just 8 that I pulled out But we can bring it to the Rodney King beating. That was one of the first that was majorly filmed. And they said he was resisting. Hell, you hit me, I'm going to move. Why would he be still? You can't be still when somebody's putting, man. Black lives matter to me. I don't know how you feel about it, but black lives matter to me. You matter to me, brothers and sisters. You matter to me. All that other ruckus stuff, no, But this is what gets me so juiced sometimes in regards to our fraternal organizations. When you can so easily look past and forgive those who don't look like me for their transgressions against you, but yet you refuse to even have a seat at the same table with me and talk about how we can better our community. It don't make sense. How can you do that? I don't get it. I don't get it. But you're proud. But you proud. But you're quiet. You're quiet, but yet you're proud. I'm very proud to be where I'm at. But you're quiet. That's what they'll do. Look, I'm not going to hold you long. I've been on here long enough. Again, the condition that we are in is because of America. The reason we are in the condition that we are, you never cashed it. Now, if anybody ever want to if you have a Masonic building in a black community and it gets burned down, you have a problem. Your problem, all they see is to no good. So when that time came, oh, you burnt your shit down. And you wonder, well, why would they burn our building down? We didn't do anything. We're black. We're in the community. No, you're not. You're not in the community. Have you invited them to your building? And said, look, we are the Freemasons. We want you to come in and take a look at our building to let you know that we're here for you. As a matter of fact, if you need assistance in finding jobs, we can tell you where to go find jobs at. You know, this is what we're all for housing. Well, we're going to give you the information where you can go and find, and here's the number, da-da-da. This is what it's all about. But when you are not visible in the community and they don't know where they can get information from, you got a nice building over there, or you just got a building over there, you there once a week, one day out of a week, cook out, fish fries, gone. That's all they see. That's all they know. That's the truth. You have to be visible. They have to know what you are all about. I don't care what jurisdiction you're in. If your membership comes from the African American community, they need to know about us. Black Masons. Period. There may be some white Masons in your jurisdiction. I'm sorry. There may be some. But your membership comes from the African American community. Plain and simple. So look, with that being said, as always, I hope that you've gotten some out of this tonight. I really enjoyed the conversation from the brother that gave a call. Thank you, Brother Larry Diamond, for coming in tonight. I really appreciate that. Thanks, everybody. Travis, what's up, man? I appreciate that. No resources. There you go, brother. No resources. We need to have resources. One thing I can brag about, and I'm going to share this with you. Hold on. I'm bragging because this is something that we have here. We have the book here, and I'm going to find it. That's why I'm still talking. I'm looking through it. It's on my desk. I had it here. I'm going to share this with you. In my jurisdiction, we have a community resource directory. Okay? This is what we have in my jurisdiction. A resource directory. What do you need? What are you looking for? This book here has it all. Okay? A community resource directory. This is what you need. So when people call up to your lodge, or when people are talking to you and they see the Masonic hat or the shirt that you may have on, whatever, you want to be able to give them the resources. Tell them where they can go and get the help they need. When they get there, they say, well, that brother, he's a Mason down the street. He told me I can come here and get a little help, so this is what I need. I need a little help to get on my feet. This is what we have. And your lodge, your Grand Lodge, should be able to provide your jurisdiction with a community resource book. Okay? That's what you need. You may not have the finances to help somebody, but to give them and point them in the direction for which they must travel may be the most important thing that you can do for them. Child care, you looking for child care? Let me help you find child care, all right? It has the names of different child care agencies in here, all right? Communication and Development, African American News Link, all right? You looking for economic development? We got that too, all right? Health and services is in there too. But the brother is right. Resources are everything. And if you have resources, share it with the people in your community. Share it. Don't nobody. I don't care what your Masonic jurisdiction is. Don't you ever say black people need to do better and take care of their community. When you have sucked the blood out of the community, when you have even came in yourself and destroyed the community, you have never gave us a hand up or a hand out. Always done it on our own with each other. 60 years. We've been, well, no, less than that. We have only been out of Jim Crow for 50 years. 50 years we've only been from up under Jim Crow. I applaud us for the strides that we made. Black lives matter. They matter to me. It should matter to you. So, with that, I hope that you've gotten some out of this, and never forget who you are, no matter where you're at. No matter how much money you got, never, ever forget. Because when that money is gone, when that fame is gone, when you're no longer a politician, chicken come home to roost. Just saying. I'm out. Peace and be well. God bless you. And brother said we need to build a new Rosewood. Well, man, every time I get ready to go, you bring me back in. I'm going to say this. It is not that we can't. It's not. It's not that we don't have the resources to do the things that brother said. It is not. We have the resources. We even have some land. We do. The ideal is those with the money, are they willing to actually put it up? It's going to take them green dollars. It's going to take them dead presidents. Money moves everything around me. It's going to take that to make this happen. So, one more thing, or we separate. The signs of the government putting down the black community and non-white communities are the crack movement and the KKK not being terrorist organization while other black communities are targeted. If you have time, I will call in and voice my opinion. Travis. Well, Travis, if you're going to do it and it's 9/12, Call in right now, Travis. I'll wait for you. 619-985-1184. If you're going to call in, Travis, call in. Brother, quick question. What were the two trades and how does it pertain? Travis, how you doing?
Doing well, Brother Hawkins. How are you?
I'm all right. Talk to me. What you got?
Critical thing. I kind of came at the tail end of the conversation, but I think you were talking about why Black people are in the situation they're in today's society.
I am, but what I'm talking about, who's to blame?
So who's to blame, right? So
who's to blame?
The blame is, as you said, it's on America, right? We're
That's what I said. I blame America.
But the reason that is because you got to understand, when we came to the Americas, we were considered property, chattel, movable property, right?
Uh-huh.
So when they were making, the Constitution or what have you, that was not intended for Black people at all.
Correct.
It's intended for white men.
Mm-hmm.
So, long story super short, what we have to do as Black men and women is build resources, find resources. That's the only way that we can get ourselves out of this cycle, right?
Here's the thing, and I agree with you. What you said is absolutely correct. The process is that we have a few billionaires, and we have quite a few millionaires. Okay.
Right.
Now, this is what I really believe in my heart.
Okay.
If they wanted to, you can actually build another Rosewood. You can actually build. Look, you can go down south and buy 100 acres of land if you're a billionaire or a millionaire, and it won't hurt your pockets. It won't hurt your pockets. Then you've got 100 acres of land. You could put 3 houses on an acre of land because they do it here in San Diego. I mean, an acre of land is a lot. 100 houses, 300 houses.
Absolutely.
Okay? So I'm just saying it doesn't, I mean, if it doesn't take a rocket science to make it happen.
It takes specialized knowledge on the subject. We're not educated in financial literacy.
Oh, bruh, I disagree with you.
As a whole, we're not.
Okay, but that's in anything. As a whole, that's in anything. A lot of us, I work in the medical field. A lot of us are not nurses or doctors as a whole.
Exactly.
However, but we are nurses and doctors. We are lawyers. We are grocery store owners. We have the resources. In other words, we have the people to do the work. We just need the money behind us. Do you know what $10 million can actually build a community, legitimately speaking, if you go down south?
Absolutely.
If you go to Atlanta, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and maybe even some of the places in Carolina, 10 million?
Go a long way.
10 million? Man, look. You can get Mr. Johnson to come and open up a grocery store. You just got to get him started. You can get Mrs. Amos to come and open up a one of those stores that has all of the stuff that you can make little odds and ends with. We call them, they call Mary Ann store here. That's, the little odds and ends stores where you can buy everything to make everything with.
Yeah.
Trust me. You have a community like that, Home Depot they're gonna want to come and get some of that.
The question is,
go ahead.
The question is, why aren't we doing that?
Well, okay. Because there's only a few of us that have the resources.
And the knowledge to even want to do it, right?
Well, I'll tell you what. Claude Anderson. I don't know how many of you know about Brother Claude Anderson.
I heard of him. Yeah.
That brother right there. You could just him alone. Just him alone, okay? Economically, bar none. All right?
All right.
So you take somebody like a Dr. Claude Anderson. Economically, he's been on the president's council. He's done all of this, blah, blah, blah. All right. But you need financing. We got a few billionaires and quite a few millionaires. They're giving their money to the wrong folks.
Absolutely. I agree with you on that.
That's where the situation lies. They're giving their money to the wrong folks. Now, you could take, I'm going to use Oprah. Me and Oprah don't see eye to eye because we don't know each other. However, I'm going to use Oprah because she's one of them. All right?
Yes.
All it takes is a fraction. If she's worth 3.5 billion, if you gave me 0.5, you still got 3 billion left. If you gave me 0.5 and said, follow me to Mississippi, Atlanta, Alabama, Georgia, Texas, I take Texas, New Orleans, and we're going to build a black. Now there are some black subdivisions around in America. Let's have an understanding. But this is what we're going to do. And each one of you who want to be part of this, I need for you to invest $25,000. Now, granted, everybody don't have $25,000. That's not a lot of money, but everybody don't have it.
Sure.
Okay? But even if the investment was $25,000 over a period of 10 years, I need you to invest $25,000 over a period of 10 years. But I need you to live in this community, do the upkeep in this community. What you talking about? We got people in every facet of life. We just don't have a place to take them.
And the crazy thing about it is, yes, we have educated black people in every facet of life. However, we don't come together. You see this with Prince Hall and Ancient Free and the Mason. We don't even come together on that.
Well, I'm going to share this with you. And I'm going to agree with you on that. I'm going to agree with you on that. But that's not the fault of the Ancient Free and Accepted Masons. It's not our fault. Because we have reached out and said, hey, look, let us work together. Yeah, we reached out. But because you feel more secure with people who don't look like you, you feel more secure. You feel more like you should be with them than you should be with us, even though your membership comes from the very same community.
That trapped you and kept you down. And you brought up Oprah, and she's kind of under the same spell, right? She's under, she answers to the white man, pretty much. So does PHA. That's why they feel better than Black Ancient Free and Accepted Masons. Because they feel like they have something that's more worthy than us, right? So the point being is this. White supremacy has a great way of conditioning the black mind because it's always been against us in that way. So when we have our athletes who make millions of dollars, they don't know what to do with it, and most of them go broke because they're not, trained with financial literacy. Like they spend their money on whatever, right? And then 2 years out the league, they're broke.
Absolutely.
So we got to figure out a way to not only get the knowledge that we need to build our communities. That's key. We got to fulfill our mind with useful knowledge, right? But on top of that, once we have the useful knowledge in our mind, we got to know how to build the communities. To do that, we have to come together.
Absolutely. Who wants to make the investment?
Bingo. Right.
Who wants to make the investment? It's not like we can't do it. Who wants to make the investment? The worst thing that ever happens to black people is integration.
I totally agree.
That was the worst. I'm going to tell you, and you probably already know why, and I've said it before. Yep. Before integration, everything that we're complaining about right now, everything that we complain about right now, we had it. We did. We had it. It's the truth. You own hospitals, own movie theaters, own cab companies, own bus stations. We had it.
Lawyers.
We didn't want for nothing. That's why our black communities during that time was thriving. We had to deal with each other. Do you know if one of us got out of line, Miss Johnson down the street, boom, I seen Tony. What do you want me to do? You need to check him. When he gets home, I got him. We didn't need no damn what you call them, people that come to your house when you beat up on your kids?
Oh, defects, yeah.
We don't need them. We never needed them. Child Protective Services. We didn't need them. We protected our own kids in our own community. But now we're diverse. Now we're in America. Now we're part of the fiber of America. Well, we're part of the nightmare of America. So we're catching hell. And the only way we're not going to catch hell is to actually just separate. Just say, look, I'm good, bruh. I got to go over here, man. You know what? Well, black on black crime. If I was around you, I still deal with black on black crime. I just have to deal with it.
And that's such a stupid term, black on black crime. Listen, crime happens wherever you live. If you live around black people and there's crime in that area, then there's going to be crime. But you don't hear about white on white crime. There's more white people than black people.
Absolutely.
And their crime rate is way higher than ours.
It is. But we in jail a lot more than them.
How'd that work?
I don't know, bro. I don't know, man. I'm telling you, bro. They got us in the washing machine and a damn dryer. I'm telling you, it's crazy. But this hurts. It really hurts because, we gotta fight to be recognized. And then even when we get to this fight, and when we become recognized, everybody else want to come. That's why they have watered down everything. Oh, it's the people of color now. So that's inclusive of everybody else. Everybody else benefit from our fight but us. It's true.
Absolutely.
Look at history. Everybody benefits from our fight but us.
Yeah. You know what? Even with civil rights.
Yeah, that's our fight, but we don't really benefit from it.
You know one person who benefited from that? The white woman.
You know who else is benefiting from that right now?
What, the gay community? What we got?
Damn right they're benefiting from it. Let's just keep it real. And this is the thing. I'm not concerned with your sexual activity. That's your business. If you are white and gay, it doesn't even matter. It really doesn't matter.
Right.
Okay? If you're black and gay, you got it twice as hard. So I don't know who you're trying to align with. It's just the truth. And like tonight, I was talking to a friend of mine who's a police officer. Okay? He's like, shit, I'm getting it coming and going, Hawkins. I said, I know, huh? I was like, look. And I told him, I said, look, I want you to come on my show and talk to the people. And he said that he would.
Okay.
So the reason being is, man, we give him a hard time. Why you pulling me over? Come on, man, cut me a break. He probably would, but you got to calm down a little bit. So, so when I talk to him and we have these conversations, I've learned so much about how to deal with the police. Because I need to remain calm because I need to get home. I don't care if you call me a mother sucker. I don't care what you say about me. I need to get home. I will file my complaint tomorrow.
Right.
And like he told me, you need to shut up when you're talking to the police. Just shut up. Don't say nothing. Here's my license. Here's my registration. And remember, anything you say can and will be held against you. Anything.
Anything. That's so critical because people miss that all the time.
So when they pull you over, do you know how fast you was going? Here's my license registration. Write me the ticket. Just write me the ticket. I'll deal with that.
Yes.
I need to get home. Put the cigarette out. All right, put it out. Look, you got a gun. I ain't arguing with you.
Right.
You know? I got pulled over one time. Police officer came up. I turned the car off and dropped the keys out the door. He asked me, why did I do it? I said, I don't want you to say I tried to go nowhere, do anything. He looked at me and started laughing. I'm like, I'm serious, bro. I'm not giving you that excuse.
And you know, I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, man. So it's rough down there, man. I just recently moved to Seattle because of work, but you know, grew up in Atlanta, Georgia, and same thing, man. Grew up on the white side of town, and they pull you over for anything, man. Your car looks too nice. What you doing here?
Yep.
I'm leaving the gym. What gym? You know, you get all the questions. Oh, let's go some weed in the car. No, you don't. I don't smoke. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to search the car, right?
Hey, brother, here's my license. Here's my registration. A man told me a while ago. He said, you have to treat this situation like if you were in war. Here's my here's my registration number. 2211550. That's all I'm giving you. That's all I got.
Right.
You behind enemy lines. That's what he told me. He said, you need to treat this like you're behind enemy lines. I'm like, damn, is it like that for real? Give him your license and registration and shut up. That's the best thing we can do. Because I want to go home. You need to get home.
And you don't got to roll the window down all the way.
Nope, you don't have to. Brother said he showed the police officer his church membership card. Okay. Well, that works. Just answer the question until they start a conversation with me. Nah, I don't even need to talk to you. I don't. I really don't. So yeah, tonight, let me tell you the reason I did this show tonight, like I did it. For those of you who don't know, a gentleman I know, and I call him a gentleman, by the name of Chad Swanson. Chad Swanson said the black community need to clean up the filth or something like that. Clean up their filth or something like that.
Chad had this?
Yeah, you go check his video out. And I listened to it. Some things I agree with, some things I didn't. That's the truth. And that's because
it's kind of like this. You're a guest.
That's why he said what he said, I would imagine. You know? I told him, why don't you and I have this on my show? Or I can come on yours. I can call your phone. And let's have this conversation so I can have a better understanding of, and you can have a better understanding of what's happening and why it's happening.
But you know what's going to happen, Brother Tony Hawkins?
What's that?
PHA brothers going to go ahead and call Texas if they were having clandestine meetings on, you know.
It's not a meeting, brother. We having a conversation.
Hey, man, that's how they're going to dice it. They're having meetings. Talking about masonry.
But that's the problem. That's the problem. When people are trying to come together with a solution and the outside agitators come with a problem because they don't like the fact that we can come up with a solution.
Right.
They are the problem. Tracking on anything, but I'm going to say this. Because a lot of time we harp or we say things in regards to our various jurisdictions, such as Prince Hall, PHO, International Modern Free. We say things in regards to the genres of Freemasonry that thrives in the black community. If we chose to begin to communicate with each other, we can actually do a lot more in our own communities. I agree with what Chad said on that. However, the leadership, not the membership, the leadership within the Prince Hall jurisdictions, they don't want it.
Nope.
They don't. So if you are a Prince Hall member and you're watching this show tonight, individually, it's not about you. It's not. You're just a member of an organization that refused to communicate with another organization in the same community. Period. Your leadership sucks. And I said it. It's not personal, but your leadership sucks. Anytime you have black people in the same community from which you get your membership from, and you don't communicate with each other, you don't conversate with each other, but you will conversate with somebody that's outside of your community because it makes you feel equal with them or to them, you have a slave mentality. And I said that. It ain't personal against you as an individual. It's personal against your organization as in your leadership, your grand master.
And I second that motion because here's the thing about it. You know, the members are only following what the leaders are telling them, what they're being taught. Right?
Yeah, that's true. And I would say this. There are some very independent thinking Prince Hall Masons that I know of, and I can call you out on this phone because we talk all the time. Very independent. I mean, the brother will go. I mean, they would legitimately go to bat for me. They have supported me. These are Prince Hall brothers I know. So let's have an understanding. I'm strictly talking about the leadership, the grand masters that you elect to office who refuse to even communicate with other Masons in your community. If you chose to get together, do you know what the power that you can? But you don't want it. So this is why we're where we at. You don't want it. And you would probably say, well, Hawkins, you don't want it. And I will tell you this. Let's come to the table and have the conversation. It all starts with a conversation. You never know. Because somebody asked me, would I ever consider becoming a Prince Hall Mason? And I told them no. I didn't. It ain't personal. I just can't. I'll work with you. I will do anything for you. I just can't do it. Not right now. At this point in time in my life, no, I can't.
The reason why you can't do it.
The reason I don't want.
The reason why you don't want to do it because you're a free thinker. You know, you're a Freemason, and the thing about it is you don't have limited boundaries with your mind.
No, I don't. I don't. My grandmaster, I tell my grand, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. All right, go ahead. Just be careful. Do it. See, here's the thing, and I crack up. My grandmaster, his dad was an original member of the Black Panthers of Chicago. Original member. And he tells me the stories, and I be like, really? It's like, yeah. And, you know, so he's pretty, I have to calm him down. I'm telling you, think I'm excited. Woo. Because I asked him to come on the show when Floyd got killed. When that happened, he couldn't. He was too emotional. He couldn't. He couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. Lee Hall, what's up, brother? He said, well, if we get back to what the emblem behind the meaning, then the real understanding will begin. Quite well put. Peace and greetings to the east. Stay building. What's up, Illuminating Light? That's a good brother right there. That's a good brother. So look, man, I'm going to get ready to log off. We've been on here about 124. I appreciate you calling in. Hey, I was up in Seattle over the weekend, man. Why it's always raining up there, man? Woo. Man,
listen, it don't. We'll talk another time, but it don't always rain up here. And I just moved here. It's always been sunny.
I know. I'm just angry. Where? That's for sure.
Absolutely. Well, it's good talking to you, brother.
Hey, brother, it's good talking to you. I appreciate you calling in. I look forward to seeing you soon. And now that you're on the West Coast, yeah, I'm gonna have to make a flight up to Seattle, Washington. Who knows? All right. Hey, take care. Peace, everybody. Whatever you do, keep that light on and stay out the bushes. And the higher you climb, the clearer the vision. I'm out. Peace and be well.